Okay, let's get into the Regent for Ascension 1. The first fight that we did was pretty cool. We used star power to get through that one, and that was the primary mode of transportation through the Spire. Here we're offered a couple of regulars, Precarious Shears, Lost Coffer, and the Niao's Lament, or Torment. Sorry, Torment. They rhyme. And probably going to go with Lost Coffer. I don't like those options that much, to be honest. So Coffer's by far the best to at least get something going. And honestly, these cards left a lot to be desired. Bulwark seems okay for the block, but I thought maybe I would try something else with the stars rather than go straight Forge. And in fact, I think this run, I primarily start with trying to make stars work, and then we somehow get into a weird, well, you'll see. I don't want to ruin it. I am, once again, commentating this after the fact, so you should get much more clear thoughts than had I done this during. And we're going up against a couple of tadpoles here to start, which is not a particularly scary fight. The big thing about this is you have to remember that they buff with thorns. And somehow I keep forgetting this every time I play them. Let's see. Hopefully I remember this time. It seems I do. I'm still going to take some damage, but that's fine. I had to take some anyway. There's really no getting around that. And the thorns are just a single turn, so really not that scary long term. Here, you know, I looked at these cards a few times, but Glitter Stream is a very good card. Spoils of Battle is just, yeah, I mean, if you're going Forge, I guess it's fine. But I didn't plan on going Forge. I was kind of curious of what else can we make work with Regent. Only really the second full game playthrough here. Third. I lost the first one. Made it to the end boss, but couldn't quite get the win. But this one, yeah, so far we're going with the stars route to start. And this black hole card is like okay chip damage, but honestly, not a huge fan of it. It helps. Every little bit helps, I suppose, but I find myself needing to block more than play cards that have stars, or just play cards without stars, or you run out of stars. Like, all these things happen. So we're going to go with the full block and take things slow. I found myself in the prior game with Regent blocking a lot and just taking a while. Orbit is amazing, by the way, but I'm thinking maybe we need some more damage cards, and 14 to all or 13 damage with weak and vulnerable with Gamma Blast seem pretty good. Now, Orbit, otherwise, I would totally be down to take, but if you're playing all your cards anyway, it's a dead card until you have a need because you've got expensive. It's speculative, right? It's a little early to be taking a card like that when you're not using all of your energy to begin with. So here, you know, I guess I could have maybe had it, but for what benefit? It wouldn't have done anything that turn. It probably wouldn't do much this turn either. So yeah, you've got to just weigh playing it for 2, by the way, it costs 2, or just maybe getting it later in the run. And that's what I figure I'll get an opportunity in the future for, is there's a good chance I'll see you later in the run. We're offering 7 stars, which is never getting played at this point, so I can't take that. That would be absurd. Refined Blade is kind of cool because it gives us the energy next turn. I do like, it's a good card, by the way. It goes from 2 to 1 regular energy. But yeah, I go with the other card, and we go to the Future of Potions. So we can give a potion for an upgraded common attack skill or rare skill with the Gigantification Potion, but Gigantification Potion is really strong. It's double or triple in attack damage, and I think if you've watched some of my other videos, specifically the one with star power, Stardust, the card, I gigantify that card before playing it. So looking at these options, I'm not thrilled, but I'm going to take another star card. And at this point, I'm star starved, which is most definitely a problem. And we're up against the big eel here with many eyes. something straight out of Subnautica, the Terror Eel. Maybe I wonder if that's what it's based off of, something from there. It does remind me a little bit of it. And this guy's terrifying. He's got an appropriate name because it's very difficult to deal with him on floor 6. In fact, I'm kind of wondering why I went this way. And you see that I'm trying to rely here a little bit on the Sovereign Blade. There was definitely a point where I was like, I don't know if I'm getting through this fight. Did I make a mistake? And arguably, maybe I did make a mistake. I guess we'll find out as the run goes on. But like everything, it is still low Ascension, risk reward, and I figure I can make it through and take a different path if needed. Here I'm looking at Venerate. I'm like, oh, look, I play Venerate and then nope. I need 3 stars, not 2. Unfortunate for me. So the block pot is a consideration as well, but because we're blocking a little bit, we're not getting full value out of the block pot, and we still have many turns to go, like this one. I figure I might as well wait to play it, and indeed, it is better this turn than it would have been last turn. So yeah, we'll get that block pot down. I've been doing much better with these future runs from the last time I spoke on the topic of using potions quickly. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is a low Ascension thing where the rate at which you get potions seems high. Just feels like I get a lot more potions than I ever got in Spire 1. Although, again, I'm comparing to A20 because I can't remember playing low Ascensions on Slay the Spire 1 just because it's been a while, right? Maybe it's the same, maybe it's similar, but regardless, I'm always overflowing with potions, it seems. And yeah, considering using the Gigantification to just get out of this fight, which gives us an upgrade or an epic unlock as well. And we've got a couple of cards here to consider. I actually kind of like Furnace, but I also like this draw 2 cards. So a lot of considerations going here. We're going to go with Furnace. It's going to do something. And we got Vambrace, which gives us double block for the first time we use it every combat. And being brave, looking at smithing instead of resting here. I mean, based on how that elite fight went, I'm not sure I should be looking at upgrading, but it's always good to, if you have a good opportunity to get a lot stronger, maybe give it a shot. Now, I'm realizing I don't like any of these upgrades all that much. And I can't decide. Like Black Hole, I don't know, I'm not seeing it that often. So just going with the big block card made the most sense because it helps this turn and next turn with that upgrade. So this is a good opportunity to go Forge since we've got, for sure, a longer fight in our second elite fight here against this skulking colony. Which, by the way, is kind of funny. I didn't even realize. Somebody pointed out that it's not animated yet. And I'm like, should it move? I mean, it's coral. How does it move anyway? I guess the sea anemones and whatnot could be floating around and pulsating. But yeah, this fight actually ends up being pretty okay. But I routinely forget that this guy maxes out on damage taken with that shell effect. So max health loss on any given turn after he buffs is 20. And I was like, oh look, 42. So in hindsight, maybe I should have defended there. But at the same point, now I can actually take him out. Had I had enough damage anyway, I could have. So real hindsight, it would have been better to not play that and to play the defend. And we would have gotten out of this, I think, free and clear. Actually, maybe not. No, now that I'm looking at it, I don't have any damage this turn either. I could Swift Potion, though, to get out of this. Potentially, not guaranteed. So with that, I don't think that's the best thing to do. Because that could just be a full waste of a potion that might be better suited for a future fight. And we're rewarded with Regal Pillow. Parry is definitely a consideration. I'm not interested in more stars. And again, Spoils of Battle we've already looked at. I don't like Forge by itself. I think there's got to be some other effect, whether it's damage, block, energy, draw. When you pair those together on the card, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more attractive. Like Refined Blade, there's Forge 6, obviously less than 10. But how often do you need that much more damage? And the answer is not very frequently have I found that is the deciding factor of a fight. But the block that you get could be, right? Or the extra energy that you get in a future turn could be. So just something to consider what you're trying to do. The big numbers always look cool, but they're not necessarily functional in the way that you want them or need them to be. But yeah, we're getting some damage put on us this turn. Be able to do a lot as well. So we'll take some, but we'll deal some. I'm feeling a lot less concerned, though, with the Regal Pillow. So taking out the Cultist, was it the Calcified Cultist? Maybe it was the other one. We're offered an Heirloom Hammer, and we're going to take it, which I got to say, I didn't quite fully understand. Ooh, Amethyst, Aubergine, going to give us 10 extra gold at the end of every fight. I didn't quite understand how the Heirloom Hammer worked, in all honesty. What I thought happened was it made a colorless card. I didn't realize it made a copy of a colorless card in your hand. So I don't know if you'll see it during the fights, but I have clear confusion when I'm playing it. I'm like, what the heck is this? Why do I keep getting Sovereign Blade? How is this possible? But that ends up being strength in the end that I didn't really consider. But you'll see that as we go through the game here. Now, we're on another elite fight, this time with a lot more health than a couple floors ago. And it honestly, surprisingly not that scary of a fight. We've just got to make the decision between taking some guys out, doing some damage, or potentially just full blocking here, or as much as we can. Here's when I go like, look, I got 2 Sovereign Blades. What? How? No, that's not what I wanted. I think in hindsight, Glitter Stream might have been the better play, but it worked out fine. You know, these Sovereign Blades, having 2 of them is useful. And we can almost full block here. Although, yeah, Refined Blade was a consideration for how does this work with 2 Sovereign Blades? And the answer is, I'll tell you, you don't need to wait and find out. It upgrades all of them. So pretty neat when you look at it. And if we maybe hover over this Sovereign Blade, you'll see the other one was upgraded. They both get it. At least I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but it's possible. So it's cool. I also have 2 swords floating around me now instead of 1. And there you go. Yeah, they both get upgraded on the different effects. So surprisingly strong, with the caveat that it's an expensive card, and now we really want 4 energy somehow. Again, a bunch of cards with stars. I thought about them. I'm not really interested in the colorless card build, despite having the Heirloom Hammer. And we get to the Waterlogged Scriptorium, where we can get 6 max, or enchant a card with Steady, or 2 cards. So what will it be? I don't remember where I went here, but Steady is very useful, especially on a card like Glitter Stream that has a ton of block. So obviously we went with Glitter Stream here. And I was happy about that decision when I made it, and I would do it again. I thinking back on it, I still think that was a good call and probably the right play. So now we're up against the treasure boat, or whatever this is. I guess it's not treasure. It's a bunch of floral again. And, you know, the character, the haunted ship, I should say, he's very large. So I'm like intimidated, but then I look at the number. I'm like, oh, 63, actually not that bad. It's not an elite. Size-wise, it's as big as an elite, but yeah, really not that scary, all things considered. So now that we've got Glitter Stream retained, we're feeling pretty confident, even with Frail. It's just not that scary. And Heirloom Hammer, I'm not sure if I notice it this time yet or not. Probably not, because I go for the defend play. But yeah, it is funny how we'll find out later, because I will have eventually multiple colorless cards. But it is, I think, pretty neat in how it works. So if you're playing a colorless card build, Heirloom Hammer could be very powerful depending on what colorless cards you go with. There's a lot of interesting ones that could have interactions, like the production one that generates energy, or purity possibly for, some sort of exhaust build. Although there's not really exhaust with Regent that I've seen yet that makes sense. We do get offered another orbit, and heck yeah, we're taking that one all day. That is maybe one of my favorite cards on Regent, especially with how it interacts with other orbits. Multiple orbits are amazing. I do think that 2 orbits is enough orbits generally, although probably always more is better. But when you play 2, especially if you play them in like the same hand, it's interesting how they work with each other, because they end up, no matter what, on different turns, unless you can somehow line them up. But the different turns is beneficial because it averages out your energy much nicer. And we get another one immediately, which I don't know if I take this one, because Cosmic Indifference is very strong. We got stars. I was like, oh my goodness, I want energy, but I need stars more. And again, this is the same case of, now that I have Orbit, do I really need another one right now? And the answer is no. Gambling Chip, by the way, one of the best relics in the game, gives you so much flexibility that is super helpful. So this character or enemy has plated armor. He sleeps. It's most definitely in your best interest to wait as long as possible, mostly because he gets less plated armor for the turns that you then fight him. Doesn't always make sense. So very similar to Lagavulin. Obviously, this is the Lagavulin Matriarch, and just a bigger version, I guess, and crabbier maybe. So very, very cool that they pulled the Elite from Act 1 into this version, from Spire 1 in Act 1 Spire 1 to Act 1 Spire 2. But I will say this one, again, this is probably going to be different on higher Ascension. The attack pattern just not nearly as scary, even though it's doing 18. And the last turn it did, what did it do? 15 or whatever it was. It just isn't quite as intimidating, because we seem to block so much better in this game than Spire 1. By the way, we have 3 Sovereign Swords now. How cool does that look? Also, I realized at some point here that if you hover over them, they stop, they pause, which is pretty neat. So nice little Easter eggs in the animations that were here. I'm not sure if I had enough damage if I played another one. No, so we waited a turn here. And again, Orbit is just so nice. 3 energy, well, just play a Sovereign Blade and you'll get another one and play it again. So this Elite ends up being no problemo, and we leave with almost full max HP. Now we're offered the Seeking Edge, which is OP, royalties at the end of combat gain 30 gold, which sounds really good, and make it so deals 6 damage every 3 skills. You put this back into your hand. I want to play royalties. I need to play that next time I see it, but Forge 7 and Attack All just resolves going into the second act my lack of AoE damage. And I thought that, you know what, long term, I'm going to need that more than the gold. As much as the gold is important, with 435 right now, the Regent monologues for hours, by the way, I love that. I have a lot of gold, so why bother? Now, I do think, looking back on this, I made a mistake. We took, what did we take? Well, we could have taken the upgrade 6 random cards, the Radiant Pearl, where you start each combat with 1 luminescence, and Touch of Ouroboros, replace Divine Right with Divine Destiny. And that's kind of nice because it just gives you a whole lot more stars. And remember, like, that's the issue that we've been having is we need more stars. But then I started counting and I'm like, I guess we don't have that many star cards right now, but it would enable us to take more because of having the upfront star power is very important. Instead, I don't believe I go with that this run. I think we go with the luminescence card, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but with orbit, it is less good, right? Because we're not that hungry for regular energy when we're doing that. But still, 2 energy with retain is very powerful. But I can't remember which one we went with. It's been a minute since I've played. I'm pretty sure I went with luminescence here. We do. Okay, cool. So anyway, on to Act 2. We're elite hunting once again, and I think at this point I didn't even quite realize yet that I have gotten quite a bit stronger already since Act 1. Our relics are okay, but the cards in the build has actually gotten pretty good. So we're up against the same guy we always are on the first floor, this praying mantis dude, which I don't know if it's just like he's your Act 2 orientation leader and you're always going to get him no matter what. But I'm pretty sure I've gotten him every single time. And hopefully in the full release, there's some rotation between him and some other enemies. I'm sure there will be. There's so much in this game. An absolutely incredible amount of material that they've squeezed into this. Decide to go with the refined blade instead of the forge. Not sure that was the right move. Again, as I consider it in hindsight, because, you know, it's a one-time scale. And I thought, you know, maybe I want the energy. But realistically, the extra damage might go further here, especially since if you look, we ended that turn with 1 unused energy. So I think that could have been a mistake. But at the same point, we've got plenty of time here to take care of this guy. Although this is an interesting situation where maybe I should have let him take that card. He's got Black Hole. And the fact is, Black Hole is not really making a material difference in the game at this point with how little chip damage it does. So I probably could have played this a little bit differently than trying to take him out. And instead, maybe looked at this as an opportunity for a card removal. Now, I haven't had that happen yet where the enemy has taken the card away, so I am assuming that's what happens. I'm 90% sure that's what happens based on just prior experience with Spire 1 and how the thieves worked. So, you know, it's a good possibility that we could have got rid of a dead weight card, and that would have improved the deck for sure. I would say that I wouldn't miss it leaving the deck right now. Now, Sovereign Blade is still very expensive, but on the plus side, we've got that nice vulnerable. So we can do some extra damage there. But again, we've got plenty of time. And at this point, you know, we're just going to pump out more damage than this thing can handle. 16 per blade and orbit with energy to spare. Speaking of energy, we get an energy potion, and we can look at, Prophesize is interesting. Rot in War and Crush Under. I looked at Prophesize, but I thought, I'm like, man, that's just so much energy, and I'm never going to play all those cards. So Crush Under is like a poor man's piercing whale, is how I looked at it. And with the Cosmic Indifference, if I get a copy of that, it could be a very useful card that I can play multiple times and just keep me a little bit safer through some of these fights. So we're up to our next fight, going up against the Tunneler, and Gambling Chip is causing me to search for some better block options. We are going to get Glitter Stream if we want it, and I think I do want it, along with Hidden Cache. So starting to get that star power going, and Luminescence kind of coming in nice here with that extra energy on turn 1. That does really help a lot. It's like a super miracle from the Watcher. And that's going to enable us to put a ton of damage onto the Tunneler here before you can really do too much. So I continue to think this is an interesting mechanic that this guy's got, where he has a barricade block and doesn't lose it, and you have to break through it if you want to stun him. Unfortunately for me, I'm looking to take some damage here because I have 0 block cards and wasn't able to get quite through that stun level or that shield level in order to stun him. So unfortunate, but again, we've got the Regal Pillow, we've got healing options here, so I'm not too concerned. And at this point, you know, we're looking much stronger already, set up for this turn here. We're guaranteed to stun him, I think, based on the draw at that point. And we get our Sovereign Blade going, which is basically all we need to finish this up. Falling Star and Astral Pulse can't both be played, but they can be with Hidden Cache, just barely. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to close them out, move on to the next fight. So we've got Refined Blade Plus, which I kind of like. Stardust, which we played in the last run, but I'm just going to go with another Refined Blade. The energy transfer has been good. We've got the Capture the Wisp, Lost Wisp. Whenever you play a power, deal 8 damage to all. But you get a Decay, which is like the worst curse to have. Take 2 damage at the end of your turn. Although actually Pain might be the worst one. Although I'm not sure Pain's in this game. I haven't seen it. So if it's not in the game, then this is the worst one. Now I'm just doing a power count. I've got 4 powers, which would translate to 32 damage across the board if I were to play them all. But it's just, to me, it's not worth it. So we're going to take the gold. We've got 550 gold. That's going to get us plenty of good stuff. And this is a fight right here where I'm interested in playing Seeking Edge. And not only am I interested in playing Seeking Edge, it doesn't matter how much damage the Forge does, the sword, because the Sovereign Blade, because they're capped at 9 anyway. So we don't need to worry about getting the Furnace down or the Furnace Forge. There's too many names that I am not yet fully familiar with. And yeah, Sovereign Blade's gonna basically close out the fight immediately with Heirloom Hammer. So it was nice. Well, we could take a little bit damage here. We could have blocked for a little bit, but I figure at this point I'm gonna have to heal anyway. So let's just eat the damage and get out of the fight. So we do that. And we're offered a Parry Plus, Child of the Stars, which could be good if I use stars more, and Monarch's Gaze. Whenever you attack an enemy, it loses 1 strength this turn. That would pair very well with that Stardust build that we were talking about from the prior video, where you could remove 20 strength from an enemy if you wanted. So onto the store. Well, we've got some options here. We've got another black hole. Oh, yay. Bolus, which is not really what we're trying to do. The Abacus, we can get a shovel and dig. Centennial Puzzle, 200 gold there, which is a great first time you take damage, draw some cards. Another Prophesize on sale, Particle Wall, Devastate, and Rotten War. So Devastate is 4 star power to do 30. That's kind of interesting, but I'm not sure I'm generating that many stars quite yet to make that worthwhile, but could be fun. And in a future build, I'll definitely go for it. I do not go for it here now that I'm kind of transitioning a little bit into the Sovereign Blade build. It's just not like consistent enough at this point. So I'm going to pass on that. I will take that Centennial Puzzle though, all day. That is a fantastic relic. Double checking the colorless cards to make sure I'm not missing something, but Dramatic Entrance isn't really that exciting to me. Neither is the Bolus card. Although I have had it and played it, I got it through either a potion or some other card generating card. It was fine, you know, it did its thing. But we're going to walk out with an Abacus and a Centennial Puzzle, and we're going to move on to the Elite fight, which means we've got to rest. We've got to get that health up because health is a resource and the resource is low. Of course, we're going up against the Honeybee guy that always is a hassle because unless you're a poison build, you're just going to be eating dazes. Or if you've got a status build, then he's fine too. But I am neither of those things, so I'm mildly concerned that I'm going to be taking a lot of damage here. And I do get my Sovereign Blade out. to try to help with that. Glitter Stream's going to do some work for us, though, so we can more or less full block if we wanted to. Instead, we're going to continue to work on ultimately trying to one-shot this guy because he is just a hassle. So playing all my forge cards, my energy cards, trying to get things rolling here. And I am going to play Gamma Blast to weaken it for next turn. Even though it's not a really efficient use of the card, I figured I was better off getting it going than waiting any longer. Maybe a slight mistake here. I may have to use the energy potion, but I think Sovereign Blade could have been a good play here. So yeah, with the vulnerable running out next turn, it would have been nice to be able to play it. So I consider the energy potion. I am going to use it, and we're going to attack for almost 60 damage, which is going to go a long way to chipping away at this guy who, like I said, is a huge hassle. So Sovereign Blade upgraded again and defend and remove strength. And we don't full block, but we could heal some more without too much concern. I don't feel like there's any cards that we're dying to upgrade outside of maybe Orbit to make it a little bit easier to play. And everything else, it just increases blocker damage. Now, if you had something that increased the status or the debuffs that we put on someone like this, instead of doing 13-2-2, it did 13-3-3. That would be way better than whatever it is, something like 17-2-2. You know what I'm saying? The debuffs are where the real value is on a lot of these cards. But we're going to take them out with Sovereign Blade doing over 100 damage. Not bad, not bad. And we've got a lot of nice upgraded card options here. But Photon Cut is just really nice with the deck manipulation that it brings. And we're going to go with that option. As well as that, we're going to Warpaint for 2 Defend Pluses. That's fine. If I could have picked, I would have wanted something different. But realistically, it's not bad. Defend Pluses are going to get played, and they will save us health. So we'll take it without too much complaint. We are going to skip an Elite and head towards that Campfire potentially, which I think is more prudent than going Elite or Elite Fight Elite, because that might just kill us with how much damage we've been sustaining across these fights. I have not gotten to a point where the Regent doesn't take a lot of damage on seemingly every floor. Now, we do have an opportunity to get Orbit down, or we can Glitter Stream, and we're going to go with the Glitter Stream option here. Since this is not an Elite fight, I should be able to get there. Oh yeah, I have Luminescence though, so we can still play. That's going to let us play a bunch of cards on turn 1 throughout this entire run. So Sovereign Blade, it's going to take a little while to make its way to enough damage to really end this fight. But this is another cool fight. I really like this giant louse. It's the progenitor. Is that how you say it? I hope so. It's just a cool continuation of the I'm going to say quote unquote lore, because I never really considered the lore of Spire 1 until Spire 2 came out. And now that we're seeing this transition of Spire 1 to Spire 2, it's like, oh, that feels good. That continuity, but different, is what keeps it in the correct universe, the correct feeling. And they're right. They don't need to come up with all new guys and units. This is very cool. There's the theme I really like. So I'm interested in some other things around the art style. And by the time we get to release, will they change like the background art, or will it move, be animated, any of that stuff? I don't think it necessarily needs to be. I just wonder. So I was considering Hidden Cache there. Ended up going with Cosmic Difference because, again, the deck manipulation, now that I've got the Photon Blade especially, is just so strong. And a lot of options here. I think this may be the Orbit upgrade. Or there's some other good upgrades in there. Furnace wouldn't be bad with scaling a little bit quicker. We're going to avoid the Elite altogether. And you know what? clumsy has just not been a bad pick for me yet. We get a potion belt with 3 potions already in the belt. It's nice to get. We get the fake shop here with the faux relics. And, you know, we could go with a couple of these. I have yet to pick that Snecko Eye, by the way. I'm too chicken to do that. At some point I'll do it. But we get 150 gold, so we might as well take the tea set. A little bit of extra block if we can't block is not a bad idea. And you know what? Might as well go all the way and enjoy a waffle on the way out. If we don't make it past this guy, at least he'll also eat a waffle with us. So going into the boss fight, we're basically full health. That's going to give us the furnace upgrade that I was just mentioning. Would be a good one for better scaling. And I'm a lot more comfortable with this fight now that we've done it a few times. And turn 1, turn 1 is just not scary. It's a good setup turn for us. Most definitely we'll be getting Orbit down. And I think I'm going to play that Power Pot up top. I think that'll be good. The Heirloom Hammer gets us, see, this is where we get to pick between which colorless card it is. And I thought about Luminescence, the extra energy, but with Orbit, I don't know, maybe Sovereign Blade would be better. We are going to go with Luminescence. In hindsight, maybe Sovereign Blade was better. Hard to say. But we are going to get a nice free power here. And looking at it, Spectrum Shift seems kind of cool. I haven't played it yet. Neutron Star with the plated, I'm not too concerned about because we are still on low enough Ascension where we full heal. Ascension 2 is where the bosses stop full healing you after the boss fight. And we immediately get the bomb, which seems somehow appropriate, I guess. I don't know. And full spending to get Frantic Escape out to try to stay as far away as possible. My takeaway on this fight is you just gotta eat it and, pun not really intended there, and play the Frantic Escapes when they arrive. And just stay as far away as possible early on so that it's not so much of a difficult decision later in the fight. Obviously, it's going to come to bite you if you drag out the fight too long. But the fact is, we've already got our Sovereign Blade, and it's already scaling nicely. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the Heirloom Hammer wasn't the wrong play, playing on Luminescence, because we can copy either of those again right now, along with other colorless cards that we're now generating. I wonder if Frantic Escape counts as a colorless card. I didn't think about that. That's kind of... Oh, it's a status. It just happens to be gray, I guess. So I wouldn't think you can. But with the upgraded Sovereign Blades and the scaling that we've got behind it, I'm generally feeling pretty confident at this point. Really, all I've got to do is make sure that anytime I don't have Glitter Stream in my hand, I get there as quickly as possible. So Cosmic Indifference can help with that, but only if you already have played Glitter Stream. And Rolling Boulder, man, that was a fun one that we played in a prior fight, where just every turn it does another 5 damage at the start of the turn. It's not huge, especially early on, but the longer a fight goes, obviously the more helpful it is. So we're going to play it and have some fun with it. We're going to get a little Sovereign Blade upgrade going there. Get pulled in a bit closer. Purity is what we're handed next for our Spectrum card. And, it might be worth trying to exhaust a Strike and Defend. But at the same point, I do want to make sure I'm defending as much as possible here. But keeping the deck smaller to get back to Frantic Escape is kind of important. Now, we've got Vulnerable, so I'm debating playing Sovereign Blade now for 94. Or I could wait till next turn and do that much more damage, another 9, because it's going to go up by at least 6. So there's benefit to waiting, and there's no real rush. There's the Rolling Boulder, by the way. I love it. It's so Zelda. A Link, not even the original Zelda, The Legend of Zelda. You know, with the rolling boulders off the mountain, where you have to kind of dodge them. This time we are going to go for the Mega Hammer here. And with 100 damage the first time, well, guess what? We got Luminescence, so we can play it again. And this fight is over. We're out pretty cleanly, I would say. And we get offered Void Form, which I love. Comet, which I have not played yet, but is 5 stars. And Foregone Conclusion, which is a skill. and seems minimally, not minimally useful, but maybe not as impactful, at least with what I'm doing. So we are going to go with the Void form. We're offered once again Delicate Frond. Oh my goodness, Delicate Frond with Potion Belt. What a combo. We could get Apotheosis, as I'll lovingly call it, Apo from Spire 1, or Glitter, where we enchant all cards with Glam, all card rewards with Glam, which gives them replay. Now, I'm sure that's also very strong, and I have not taken that yet, but you can't tell me there's any reward that can possibly be better than 5 potions of fight. I mean, that's insane. In Tropic Brew, every single fight is amazing, especially when you have 5 slots. I'm assuming on the higher Ascensions that you lose a potion slot, so maybe this would be 4 with Potion Belt or 2 without. And then for sure, I could see that being less interesting, and maybe Glam would be better in that case. But low Ascension, we get to have fun. We get to do stuff. And so that's what we're going to do. Now, I have to remember to look at my potions. We've got this Demise that does 9 damage per turn. I think it's every turn. We'll keep track of it as we go. And we get to grab a card for free. Might as well play the Dex potion. And the only thing I haven't decided on is when I want a vulnerable. So yeah, he just took 9, and it does look like it's every turn, which is nice. This turn, we're going to play the vulnerable because we've got some damage coming out, starting with Heirloom Hammer. And yeah, we might as well make another Sovereign Blade. We can also play pretty much all our cards if we want. But Seeking Edge seems good because it upgrades 2 cards, so we are going to play that first. And then we'll drop down the first of the Sovereign Blades. And we could take it back if we want, or any other card, of course. So yeah, lots of options here. In this case, we will take back the Sovereign Blade, play 1 more strike for good measure, and also that helps clock up the orbit count. So that's another thing that you want to keep track of is your orbit number. If ideally, much like you might want to set up Happy Flower for the next fight, within the fight, you can, on the plus side, do it where you can set up your next turn. So very useful. Now, Void form would be nice, but we are going to want to block here, or, we can just kill him. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the Stack Oil was not very good, by the way. I think almost everything was 3 cost, or the regular cost. So that's unfortunate. We get the Crystal Sphere. Again, I have yet to do the payment plan. I have not been interested in losing that much gold. And yeah, didn't do well here. I thought I was being clever. I'm like, oh yeah, look, I'm finally doing this right. And I did not. I get 30 gold. I definitely could have done a better job with maybe of getting that relic. Although I think you might need the Divine 6 for that. So what are you going to do? But on to the Act 3 fight here of the Scrolls. These are the guys that if they do unblock damage to you, you lose 2 max health per attack. So the multi-attack guy is most definitely higher priority to block or kill. And that's all there is to really say about it. So there have been a couple of times where I've taken some damage from these guys and lost the max health. It's really not that bad. King's Courage, first time I've gotten that potion, very cool. Also, this reduced strength is that crush, wherever it was, that does a AoE damage and AoE strength removal, which I did not realize before playing it the first time. It's very powerful. That was surprisingly useful. Unfortunately for me, it looks like I am most definitely losing some max health here, unless I can figure out a way to get around it. Now I do have a fire pot, and you know what? I should use it. So let's see. We've got Sovereign Blade. We've got the fire pot. And in fact, looks like we don't have to take any damage. Nice. Very nice. So we do get our faux Orichalcum 3 block at the end. Yay. And we got 1 scroll left, which is going to be no problem, although we are 1 shy. So the fish oil gets us over the edge. That 1 strength was just enough to close out the fight. And who cares? we're going to empty out our potion slot every time anyway. And in fact, I'm thinking, you know what, let's get rid of Fortifier and just open that up for potentially a better potion. I've not yet been a big fan of Fortifier. So we're offered some cards that I'm going to skip. I don't really need any of these. We'll move on to a fight because I like fights here with all the potions. It seems stronger than taking out question marks. And really, the question marks, you have to worry about getting a store with only 127 gold. That would more or less be the waste of a floor. So we're going to hunt for fights as best we can. And definitely the Seeking Forge or whatever that card was called. I can't remember. Oh, we got a glitter stream. That's good. That's helpful. Being able to do the AoE damage with Sovereign Blade, this is the fight, especially where we care about that. It would have been nice in the Scrolls fight too, obviously. Didn't matter there, but yeah, this is important to keep the health up for this fight. And here's where we're going to do it for the first time. And we can pull it back with Cosmic Indifference, which most definitely we should be doing. Clumsy, again, not really being majorly impactful. We've not yet taken any damage. We've still got a ton of potions. Crush Under, that's what it was called. Crush Under. Again, AoE spell, beautiful, love it. And now we can take out that front guy without too much hassle. Actually, no, we can't. We're shy. Strength Pot, I don't think gets us there either, but it gets us closer. Does it get, oh no, it does. With Photon Cut, it gets us there. So yeah, we're gonna actually take out both of them. No sweat at all. I think I talked about this in the last video. These guys, their health pool is just so low. They end up never being very scary at the point in the game that you get to them. So again, I assume, you know what, maybe in higher Ascension, there's 3 of them. That would make this a little scarier. But if you've got a good AoE solution, it wouldn't really change anything for like what we're doing right now, our perspective. But yeah, I mean, worth thinking about and considering how that all plays out. We're going to keep upgrading that Sovereign Blade. Could have played a Strike. I'm not sure it would have mattered because they had some shield up there. And we've got an opportunity to play Void Form, which we have yet to... I don't think we've played it yet since getting it, which is unfortunate. And definitely a colorless potion time. So this is interesting because Fasten, not helpful right now. Ultimate Strike, mildly helpful. But I don't like the options that much, so maybe we just go Discovery and get another look at cards. That could actually give us something that we could use. So I think that's what I go with here. But this was a long thought process of maybe we just do the damage and try to take him out. I think I was doing the math to see if it worked or not. It didn't. So instead, we're going to continue to try to work our way to a better solution by either taking Cosmic Indifference for Sunblock or Bundle of Joy to see if we get a random card that gets us over the edge. And that's what we're going to do. And we hit the jackpot because we did Potion into 3 cards, into Discovery into 3 cards, into whatever that rare card we just got into 3 cards, into Jackpot into 3 random 0-cost cards. We generated 12 cards off of that potion of options. That's wild. That was unexpected and worked out really well for us. So we also have that interesting power stratagem, which lets you pick a card from your draw pile once you shuffle. So it's kind of like a Seek. If you remember Seek from Spire 1, that happens on effect, on condition of your draw pile being reshuffled. So anyway, at this point, I'm just waiting for the Sovereign Blade to eventually show back up. And if it ever does, we've won this fight for sure. And I'm hoping that, yeah, this is the next turn. It's got to have a bajillion power by now. And here we are. We still don't have it because that's what happens in this game. You bottom deck the exact cards you need every single time. But that's okay. Look, it all works out in the end, hopefully. And surely this turn we'll get it. Nope. Nope, still down there. Photon cut? Nope. Nope, literally the bottom deck card. Again. God, that is the worst. But we can at least, for sure, wrap this up on the next turn. The only question is, how do we block enough to make it there? And we get pretty close. We're going to take 2. Sovereign Blade will wrap us up, take us to the close. And we can finally... This was a long fight. You know, I'm just looking back on how long I've been talking for this one fight. It's not a hard fight, but you just need patience. We're going to get rid of the explosive pot. Surely we'll get a better potion than that. We take another hidden cache, which might be a questionable decision. We get either 3 foul potions or a uncommon potion. We'll take the tincture, and we'll keep both of those going into the next elite fight. And we get to remove a card. Do we want to get rid of Gamma Blast, or we can hold on and maybe get rid of something else? So if we hold on, we randomize that into another card. And I'm at the end of it, I decide, you know what? I'm turning into a Sovereign Blade deck, which is ironic because I just picked up another hidden cache. So yeah, I got to make up my mind here a little bit, obviously, but it is what it is. All right, so we're going to gambling ship our way to a better hand 1. And this is nice with Vambrace, good block. This guy, is pretty scary turn 1. So having that extra block really is nice. And also procs Centennial Puzzle. So we get a real nice full hand for turn 2. We use that weird star potion. We use, I think, every potion for the rest of every fight that we do. Because why not? Why not? Now, Crush Under coming in clutch once again. On the multi-attack, we take out a nice amount of damage here. 8 damage less by removing 2 strength on this attack, which just, again, feels really good. It's a great, surprisingly strong card. And we're going to, once again, almost full block thanks to it. Now, why I played Black Hole instead of Refined Blade, I don't know. That wouldn't make sense. So, good job. Good job, pass me. That was definitely the right play because we got to get that Sovereign Blade going here. And the extra energy will also likely come in handy, although apparently not. Apparently, all my cards outside of Sovereign Blade are 0 cost this turn. So what are you going to do? Well, I guess we're going to take a little bit more chip damage for 1 and play everything else that we can. Although now is a point where I could play Sovereign Blade, or we could wait for a much stronger blade, especially with the Heirloom Hammer, and play it twice. So Heirloom Hammer is also going to allow us to play Void Form. However, this dude is doing 43 damage. So mild panic setting in here. On the plus side, we're not frail anymore, but we definitely need to get some block going. So Glitter Stream that retain has continued to come in as a huge impact to scary fights, scary moments in fights. And we're able to block pretty effectively. Not full block, but realistically, we're about as close as we need to be with what we've got here. And that's going to allow us even to play parry if we want. If we want, we want. So we are going to play. And hopefully now we can poke this guy in the eye with our big swords. You would think that we naturally do double damage to this guy based on what our build is, but apparently that's not the game. Yeah, I'm sure that's not getting added either. It does always suck to be weakened, so Sovereign Blade not doing nearly as much work as it could have otherwise. And I've got to decide to put a card on top. Seeking Edge could make sense here, unless I'm going to play the Sovereign Blade. So, yeah, Black Hole, I'm not so sure was a good choice in hindsight. But it looks like, yeah, I'm able to play almost every card. We do go with the Seeking Edge, so, might as well forge both those cards a little bit more. And now we're doing significant damage. If only we had some vulnerable here, which we don't. However, we might be able to pull it in. Nope. It's not. It's not in the discard pile. Unfortunate. So we're just going to pick another Glitter Stream and play all the other cards that we can and take some more damage because, that's what we do. Again, we've got the Regal Pillow, and it makes sense that we'll play or rest anyway with the Ancient Tea set. Oh, well, I suppose it doesn't make any more sense now that I'm thinking about it. You don't have to rest to get the benefit of the tea set. So I'm just going to, in my head, imagine drinking tea, relaxing while resting. We'll go with that. So we're back to the multi-attack, and we're now doing 80 damage each, which is enough to take them out with 2. We get out of that with quite a few scars. We get Alignment, which is a cool card. I don't take it. I take Orbit Plus for sure. But Alignment is definitely a really cool card here, where you're basically trading stars for energy. And it would actually be very good here, but I'm not running out of energy, and Orbit Plus is frankly just as good, if not better, for consistent energy when you've got 2 of them. And now you get to see that as we start playing that. Although we are fighting another tough opponent here, this Hawkeye guy that's got a cool helmet on him. Is he a hawk? No, he's an owl, isn't he? He's definitely an owl. I mean, I'm not a bird scholar. I'm no Harvey Birdman, but this is definitely, I think, an owl. Anyway, I'm not sure we need to go into the specifics of the bird anatomy of this enemy. But yeah, we're going to full block here, which is nice, and start getting our Sovereign Blade moving with some additional just build up. It's important to always remember that we've got 5 potions to work with. But once again, getting Crush Under at the perfect time allows us to, we could have full blocked. We could have used the block potion with that and full blocked. But I know that I'm going to rest again at the campfire because I was already down a lot of health. So, it just didn't really matter that much. Void Form, though, is so good. So, okay, now we've got Orbit, and we've got 2 orbits, and we've got Void Form. So you can see the 2 orbits there. See how the 2-3, the 3-4 continue to drop. And the fact that they're next to each other can make it really nice when you play a 2-cost card to get 2 costs back immediately. I'm digging this. I'm digging the orbits. I'd love to have 4 of them and just, maybe I can clone them one fight eventually. And then we could have 4 orbits and have consistent 4 energy all the time. And in fact, it ends up being way more than that per turn because it keeps going. So it's not 4 energy. It's every 4 energy spent, which turns out to be quite a bit more. And that's like the magic of it. You have to do some math there. Now, this enemy is terrible because I should have played that Dex pot on turn 1, by the way. This is, again, where you've got to be thinking about this stuff at the start. Flight is just, I hate the flight mechanic. I hate being told, nope, you're only going to do half damage this turn. Sorry, buddy. And, you've got these mega damage cards like the swords, the Sovereign Blade. And it's like, yeah, no, I know you want to do 150 damage, but you're only going to do 75. That hurts the soul a little bit, okay? And I'd rather it didn't do that. I'd rather it worked differently. However, again, Entropy, by the way. Fisticuffs and Restlessness. I think I'm going to go with Fisticuffs here to full block, because I should talk about the fight a bit more here. He's doing 6x6. And if you didn't know, that's a lot. But good news, we got the Heirloom Hammer and the Flex Pot. So a duplicated Fisticuffs, unfortunately not vulnerable, gets pretty far with the block. We full block this, and we could put Fisticuffs back on top of the draw pile. So I'm kind of proud of that turn. That was a good turn. I think that's something that was well thought out. We end up way over blocking at the end of this, which is pretty cool. And ends up not being that scary of a turn. So now we've got enough damage if we can just get to the damn blades. Why can we never get to them? I don't know. But even if he does start flying, we'll be okay because they are already over 60 damage. So a single blade is enough to take him out in one fell swoop. Ha! Get it? Bird joke. We get potentially a third orbit or another Crush Under. And I am ashamed of myself for skipping that. If I could go back in time, I would 100% take the orbit. It's just so good. But I guess I'm not running out of energy. So we are offered a waffle, which is unfortunate that we just rested. But, it could be good. Master of Strategy helps quite a bit with the card draw, that initial card draw anyway. And Crash Landing seems terrible. Deal 21 to all and fill your hand with debris. That's awful. I don't know who would ever take that card ever. I genuinely can't see a time where I go, oh yeah, that's the card I want. We could get Mercury Hourglass for some more chip damage. We're fighting the experimental dude. So I honestly, there's not a whole lot here I like. We are going to take the Master of Strategy. It's expensive, so that clears out most of our gold. And I've got to think through, is there any other card here that's going to make a difference? Conqueror seems okay, but like, I'm already doubling my blade and not running out of energy when playing it. So I could just play the blade twice. And that kills almost everything, right? I mean, when it starts doing 60, it's everything. Interesting, you can't drink a potion while gambling. Who knew? By the way, maybe my worst gamble ever. I don't know why I didn't gamble for more defense cards. Not sure what's going through my mind here. I think I wanted to get Furnace up for one. And we do have a lot of energy, but still, I don't think that was the right play. Aerobic Acid, add a random attack, skill, and power into your hand is pretty neat. We're going to try that out. And that was nice. Now we've got 2 heirloom hammers. And yeah, Resonance, not bad. He loses a strength. We gain a strength. We get to play that Monarch's Gaze card we saw earlier at Boss 1 card reward, maybe? Was it Boss 1 or Boss 2? Whatever. Maybe it was a store. Who cares? Doesn't matter. But we do get to play it, although it's not going to really do much for us. And we're going to put Photon Cut back on top so that we can continue to manipulate the deck effectively. Because these fights, I am still, like, despite feeling pretty strong, especially once things start cranking along here, I still have really long setup and take a lot of damage. And I don't think this fight's going to be any different. I think that it's just painful. However, we get 7 stars here. And with Monarch's Gaze, that's going to allow us to take out 7 strength from this guy. And now we're getting a lot closer to full blocking that. And we've got the regen potion, so everything's working out fine. Centennial Puzzle played its part. We've got our Luminescence, so we can get a lot of cards played this turn as well. Refined Blade's going to help for next turn. And Falling Star is, I guess, worth playing. I can't think of a good reason not to. Oh, that's right. I wanted to play Void Form. So now, with Void Form, once Void Form goes in play, we get strong. Because we can play things like Glitter Stream for free, Orbit, any other setup powers for free. But it doesn't even matter. Now that we've got all these cards in play, he's not attacking. So the only question is, do I want to play Glitter Stream now? Or do I eat the burns? So I decide to eat the burns. My Foe Aura Calcum helps mitigate a little bit, but I knew the big attack was coming, obviously, because I've fought this guy 100 times now, it feels like. So holding back Glitter Stream was the right play. And now with Parry, we can play both Sovereign Blades and then some for big block numbers that you can be proud of, right? Also, massive damage. So 20 from 22 armor, if I play this eventually, to 31. Again, that's significant. That's a good increase. And we could full block entirely and regen a little bit. So Sovereign Blade's doing work. The potion belt doing massive amounts of work. And maybe that's the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from this video is how strong that frond is. That delicate frond of just 5 potions per fight. Insane. We get 7 stars again. I guess, this is the one benefit. The to keeping the star cards is it doesn't matter with void form. Both the energy and the stars are free. I wonder, again, that's something I wonder if it'll change. Pale blue dot, by the way, is a power that lets us draw more if we play more cards. And we've been playing a lot of cards. So that, especially with void form, so that's going to keep us rolling with longer turns. Perfect card to go into a boss fight after getting things like void form, which the upgrade is nice because now it's 3 cards. So we're basically guaranteed to always draw 2 once it's in play. Now, of course, we're going up against the experimental dude that anytime you play a skill, he gains strength. And that sounds scarier than it really is. So it's okay to play skills. The bigger thing is he doesn't retain that strength across phases. And if he did, that would be concerning. Again, long term, I think they will make it where he keeps it, because otherwise this guy is just, I think he's the easiest boss. Once you get past this phase without playing too many skills, and he's not even doing that much damage, frankly, it's just the rest of the fight, you're set up by that point, so it's not scary. We're able to get Neutron Aegis or 8 Plating. Would have been a great card to duplicate if I had a duplication potion. We do use the explosive pot as well. Oh, rather than the duplication potion, we can just get it again. And now we've got 16 plated. So we're good for the next 6 turns. 16 turns, but the next 6 for over 10 block per turn. And we're going to full block for quite a while here with that type of power. This guy doesn't stand a chance already. We've got more powers going down. Parry, Furnace. I'd like to get, my orbits in play, but I haven't seen one yet. For some reason, they're getting bottom deck this time. It's always something you want. It's got to be always something you want. If you've got a good deck, you want all the cards, right? But yeah, I guess if you were able to play in the order you wanted, it wouldn't be that hard of a game, now would it? So a lot of difficult decisions I find always with Photon Blade. Always takes a lot of thought process to get there. But we're going to continue to set up here. We could realistically just eat 39 without too much concern. But I opt for the Glitter Stream, and then we'll see what we get here for the skill potion. Well, apparently no block. That's great. Oh, skill potion, you're so funny. I guess the speed potion would have been better in this case. So we could play more, by the way, and probably should have with Luminescence, unless I'm hoping to heirloom hammer it. Finally get the first orbit down. And yeah, we can start doing some bigger damage here with Sovereign Blade and get us into maybe the next phase. Yeah, I mean, we could have with Luminescence, but no big deal. There's our next orbit and the Void form. So maybe in hindsight, that's what I was saving for. But it ended up not mattering, right? Because we can just play it all with no issue whatsoever, because the guy is in between phases here. The 3-headed Hydra, or two-headed. And we're on phase 2. So now we got to worry about wounds being put into our deck should he do direct damage. And spoiler alert, he's not going to do a whole lot of direct damage to us, especially now with the power we've got now. And we've seen 3 blades before. We're right back at it with Crush Under again. Perfectly timed Crush Under. We get to do strength reduction on him. We get parry from the Sovereign Blade, so not even having direct block isn't that big of an issue. And well, I didn't think this through fully. We could have played another Sovereign Blade to parry for more and trigger another one of the orbits. So I could have played that in a different order, essentially. Finally getting Furnace down on turn 7. Jeez, that's late. That's okay, though. And don't forget, we still have a ton of plated armor. We're at 11 at this point, which is, we're forever into the fight. We're on turn 7, and we're still getting 11 plated armor. So that has helped incredibly in this fight. And now it's really just waiting for these things to just continue to scale up. And as they do, we'll play them. And as we have energy, we'll play them. Sometimes we'll save them like we're doing here. Hard to believe I haven't played that Master of Strategy yet. But that's okay. Crush Under is going to help again with the multi-attack, getting really lucky with that. I don't know how that's worked out so well, like 4 or 5 times now in this whole run. We're going to put Sovereign Blade on top with Photon. That's fine. Falling Star is going to continue to put the weak and vulnerable on, so we're taking even less damage. And I'm not worried about taking a little bit of damage here, and we're not going to anyway. Well, I stand corrected. We are going to take 1 damage. Nope, never mind. We're full blocking. So yeah, we're in good shape here, most definitely. All right, we've got 3 Sovereign Blades. Can we get more? Let's play another one. Yeah, most definitely we can put them into the next phase now. Glow is a pretty good card. I do like Glow. A little bit of card draw and some storage. Astral Pulse, might as well play it. It's free stars. Come on, you want to do it? I know you want to do it. Now we got to go with Sovereign Blade. It's just we got to use the big attacking sword that's floating around us. The Regent is really a cool character, I got to say. I do love the whole vibe he's got going. They nailed this one. Inheritor of the King of the Universe crown, wherever he is. So, continuing on to phase 3 of the fight, the final phase. I'm not too concerned here. Still, he is intangible, so I can't do a whole lot, which means we might as well block. But we've got so many cards we can play that it's just a matter of time at this point. So, we're still full blocking, and we get the Heirloom Hammer again, along with Crush Under, which this time isn't going to help all that much. But guess what? We now have 4 blades. Part of me wishes that I just kept going to see what the max number is. I don't know what the max number is. We did finally get to a turn where we want to use our speed potion. Cool little thing here. This is the Nemesis fight, essentially, from Spire 1 Act 3 Elite. And the Nemesis is the elite that would go intangible in every other turn. But he also did 45 on his attack. He had a multi-attack, which was 7x3, I think. And then until he gained strength or whatever. And then his other attack was 45. And then he also put burns into your draw pile. So, well, was it the draw pile or maybe it was the discard? But this guy instead, he puts 3 in. But again, that's probably got to do with the Ascension level that I'm on more than anything. And yeah, we're ready to close this one out with an 127 damage Sovereign Blade. But before I do that, we need to see if we can stack these swords. And it looks like we kind of can. We can kind of keep them floating together. But yeah, that's good enough. We got 3 floating together. We'll see which one attacks. Each one is uniquely tied to a card, by the way, I'm pretty sure. And there you have it. He goes down again. And the Regent closes out Ascension 1, no problem. Hello, Architect. He's arrived again. The loud fool return. What? I love it. I love how just arrogant he is. It's amazing. All right, great fight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.